This is the Alabama Orthopedic Clinic D1 Training High School Football Preview Show.
Another week of high school. 2 weeks left, Dandelion. 2 weeks left before the playoff starts, and well, y'all know we won't be here during the playoffs.
We're completely unemployed at that point.
You know, we were Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, getting ready for another high school football game here on UTV 44 tonight. 6A Region 1 matchup. This has been a big region with lots of games we've seen this year, lots of matchups in there. And we've got St. Paul's playing host to Daphne tonight. Daphne, they got a tough end of their schedule. St. Paul's tonight, and they got Blunt to close things out. But they've won 2 in a row. We'll talk with Kenny King and quarterback Gage Bonner coming up in just a few minutes. Steve Mask will be here with Raymond Bell as well. But, you know, last week, Dan, we might have had a game that turned out to be a little lopsided, but we were really looking forward to seeing the #1 ranked team in 5A, undefeated Viger Wolves. We couldn't wait to see them, and they kind of lived up to the billing.
Yeah, they were worth seeing, right? Not just us. We weren't the only ones that thought that, but I got a lot of comments during the week too from even 95 KSJ listeners and people on the street that happened to watch that game, and they said, "I can see why Viger is still undefeated." Really good, especially defensively at every level, on the line, at linebacker, and in the defensive backfield. No weaknesses.
Yeah,
and
really
that's
good.
how you pitch that many shutouts.
And of course, we talk about how many, all the great defense, but they still score a lot of points offensively as well, so they got weapons over there. I also do want to tip our cap, though, to Citronelle and those kids. They were really shorthanded at that game, but I mean, you talk about coming out there, not intimidated, playing hard, laying a lot of big licks against a bigger Viger team. Like, they really came to play last Friday night.
Yeah, and I think if they had everybody healthy, and of course this time of year that happens, right? But to some of their very best players not healthy, and it cost them in the end for sure.
Dr. Chris, speaking of healthy, not healthy, Dr. Chris Patton from Alabama Orthopedic Clinic with us here. He is healthy. We're healthy. The grind has not caught up to us yet, but there's always a chance that will happen. Knee injuries, we've talked about them before in this segment, but like arthroscopic surgery, you used to hear that, and players or people would be out, you know, they'd miss some time. It's amazing what y'all do now. I mean, you have surgery in the morning, you're up walking that afternoon, right?
Oh, immediately. In fact, a lot of them are walking from the recovery room to the car. And with the technology available today, that we're able to do things through smaller incisions, and the technology to do everything all inside the knee, so it helps recovery a lot. It's a lot quicker.
You know, one thing, just on a broad medical scope, I guess, but like as technology continues to grow and evolve, that also really pulls back on the pain, on the painful part of it for patients as well. As technology evolves, pain becomes less and less, doesn't it?
Right. That's the advantage with smaller incisions, better technology. The patients have less pain, they're able to recover quicker, and that's the beauty of the newer techniques in arthroscopic surgery.
So meniscus, we hear that term thrown out a lot as well. You hear about injuries. That seems like, is that the good one to have, almost compared to some of the other things that can go wrong with your knee?
Well, you know, no injury is good, but the recovery from a meniscus is usually a lot shorter than in your ACL or your PCL, posterior cruciate ligament, but it's actually one of the more common injuries of the knee. And that's, of course, you don't want any type of injury, but it's one that we can, if required, we can repair or take care of arthroscopically and let you get back to your sporting activities or your activities of daily living, even for the non-athlete, a lot quicker.
Is that when we hear about, like, maybe folks my age, Dan's age, that have maybe been running for a long time or whatever, and you kind of, is it one of those? It seems like some of my friends that run a lot, I hear them talking about they've hurt their meniscus, torn their meniscus. Is it kind of common among people our age as well?
Yeah, it is. It's very common as you gain, I say gain seniority. That is very more common. It's called a degenerative type tear, and that's usually a tear in the cartilage on the inside of the knee. And so, but it's very common.
And like everything else, what can we or young athletes do to try to prevent that from happening and being stronger so we don't have that injury catch up to us?
Right, keeping, once again, like we've discussed before, is keeping good core strength, good strength and stability and flexibility, so you don't get the muscles and tendons too tight to put extra stress on the ligamentous structures.
Yeah, that's it. The core is everything, isn't it?
Core.
It really, really is. So anyway, Doc, good seeing you.
Good to see you guys.
As well. Keep your fingers crossed.
I'll do some sit-ups.
You know, one more week and we can stay healthy. Yeah, I need to do those. So we'll take a break, come back. We've got Spanish Fort and Daphne tonight here on UTV 44. Kenny King, head coach of the Daphne Trojans, will join us. Gage Bonner, quarterback, first chance to really see him in action this year as well. That comes up after this. It's week number 10 of the high school football season right here on UTV 44. Football here tonight on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, St. Paul's. There's some talk in there that I might have said Spanish Fort in the last. Spanish Fort, St. Paul's, Saraland. There's a lot of S's all together, and
they're all good.
Yeah, and I'm not sometimes. So St. Paul's and Daphne here, head coach Kenny King of the Trojans, Gage Bonner, quarterback, with us here as well as we get ready for tonight's matchup. And Coach, I know you've been banged up a little bit this year. It's kind of part of football, I know, but now you've got 2 in a row and kind of feel like things getting a little bit back to normal with your team as you head into the last 2 weeks of the season.
Absolutely. Again, we're getting healthy. We lost, of course, our offensive tackle during camp. Then we lost our starting quarterback the Wednesday before the first game, and just injury after injury. But we're getting healthy and guys coming back, so we're super excited.
Yeah, and whenever it seems like you're at this time of the season, playoffs are going. It's like all the games feel like playoff games right about now, right?
Absolutely. You're talking about Region 1, a lot of great teams, and that's why you coach, and that's why you coach in this area to play those great teams. So it's exciting. It's big-time football, and as a coach, it challenged me and challenged Daphne and the coaching staff, so we're very excited about the opportunity to play these type caliber teams on an every week basis. With
Gage getting hurt right before the season, so we saw Trent Battle come in, the youngster, do a great job there. But talk about what it's meant to get Gage back and have him in that familiar role as a starting quarterback with some experience.
Absolutely. Gage was voted in preseason as a captain. The entire team voted him in, the seniors, and they love him. They look up to him because he's a hard worker, and he's been our leader. And to see him go down, again, it took a lot of morale out of the team, but again, him coming back, getting everybody back going, and so we're just happy to have him back.
Gage, talk about, obviously you're going to go up against a very good defense in St. Paul's. They don't give much away, but you practice against a defense on your home turf that is as good as we see week in, week out. Talk about working against the Daphne defense and what a challenge that is for you.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's pretty tough. Coach Reynolds is a good DC. He knows how to dial it up a lot.
He does a lot of dialing, too, because it seems like that your defense doesn't just kind of sit back and react. You've got a defense, Coach King, that really likes to take over the line of scrimmage with slants and do things to just befuddle the other team and maybe break them down morale-wise.
Absolutely. We always felt that it starts up front on the defense, so we put some guys up front that can help us out and get some penetration and try to set the tone for the rest of the defense. So we have a guy like Jamar Mason that can come in and get nasty down up in the trenches and allow our running backs to run to the ball and make some plays. So it's just a design of, again, starting up front with our D-line.
Yeah, and it's just funny, we have a guy who heads the program, and that's kind of how they take it, that kind of molded after what he's like. Talk about like how much of a mental challenge was it for you to like get through the injury, because it happened, I mean, right before the season started, and you're so ready to take over. I mean, how tough was that to get through, Gage?
Yes, sir. I mean, it was a sad time for me, but then again, I knew I had to be there for my team and just like stay in my role. I just had to keep really like pushing through it and just stay in the role I was in, even though I wasn't on the field with them.
Yeah, adversity, one of those lessons that comes in many shapes and forms in football, doesn't it?
Absolutely, man. He did a great job. I mean, he came out, and it's a bummer to get hurt right before the season, but he came out every day and worked and got Trent Battle ready to go out and start. And of course, Trent's a sophomore, and I think he owes it all to Gage by getting him ready and helping him out and encouraging him and keeping him locked in the game. So, great and tremendous kid over there, man, and we wish we had about 100 of them.
I've talked about this, referenced this a number of times that I saw Kenny play in high school. And speaking of injury, you might get a kick out of this. When I saw Kenny on the field for Daphne before he played my son's team in McGill-Tulane, I said to my wife, that dude's going to hurt somebody. So I don't know
As
how
nice
many...
and gentlemanly as he is.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know the kid. All I know is that when he was coming from the locker room onto the field, it was like, who's blocking him? Can't be easy. So he was quite a player, if you don't know.
Talk about, like, so we hear the term next man up, whether it's at the high school level, college, or pro, but then also talking about just focusing on the game that's in front of you. You got a big one against St. Paul's this week. Then you got another big region matchup with Blunt. But you got to focus just on what's coming up tonight before you even think down the road, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's our message is the next person up, we got to focus what's in front of us, but ultimately we have to focus on ourselves. Once we get to, you know, making sure that we don't mess up and we execute, we feel like we'll be fine, and that's the message. Everybody knows that we have to win out in order to make the playoffs, and Daphne haven't been in that situation in a while, but our kids are excited, you know, young kids, and excited about the opportunity to go out and try to run for that playoff, and I think we got a good chance if our guys go in and focus and do what we ask them to do.
And they've all, you know, almost all of your games have been that you've lost. They're all close games. I mean, they're almost like playoff games in the fact that, because that's what you're going to be facing. I mean, there's not going to be any blowouts on either side from here for as long as teams are playing right now.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen a lot of fight in our group. If you watch us, you don't see anybody quitting, and those guys fought to the end, and we're very able to accomplish this year. Being a young team and guys that's our older kids being out, but guys stepped up and fought to the end, and hopefully as we get into this second part of the season, the end of the season, that you see these guys fight, but it goes to the other side, and you see that win.
That's right. Well, we can't wait. It's going to be a great matchup tonight. Gage, great to meet you. Coach, we'll see you back here in the last segment with Coach Mass. Tonight it is Daphne and St. Paul's here on UTV 44. When we come back, we will talk with Steve Mass, head coach of the St. Paul Saints, and Raymond Bell, running back, with us as well as we get ready for our 6A Region 1 matchup tonight here on UTV 44.
If you've been hurt here in the most
about 15 minutes from kickoff tonight at St. Paul's. St. Paul's playing host to Daphne, UTV 44. It's our Andy Citron Injury Attorneys Friday night rivals, and we've got the Saints going up against the Trojans. Head coach Steve Mask with us here. Raymond Bell, running back from the Saints here as well. Kind of a bit of an odd matchup with the rich history between St. Paul's and Daphne. I think, 6 state championships in football, probably. How many y'all have? 4, 5?
4.
4, they've got 2, so 6 state championships there. But 2 schools have only played each other twice in history. You just think at some point it would have happened more. So really not a lot of knowing each other, is there?
No, it's we've met a lot of new friends this year. We have nothing but respect for Daphne and their program over the years, and we got a lot of lineage to fall back on. Of course, Coach King playing there has been part of that, and now the coach there, so he's very familiar with that, more so than we are. But it's an honor to be playing an opponent like they are.
Talk about your defense and how through most of the season they have really been probably the group on your team that you can certainly depend on week in, week out. And they've gone up against some really talented teams, but they have played very well week in, week out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And even in the 2 losses to Spanish Fort and to Saraland, if you go back and you do some analyze some things, you realize that we really didn't play necessarily all that bad on defense. There were some situations that we were put into because of things that we did offensively, not to blame anybody, obviously, but
except for
short fields. But no, well, I'm the head coach, really ain't me. But you know, for the most part, in the 8 games we've been there, I think we've played well every week defensively, and we've gotten better. We're doing it with a lot of young kids too.
Yeah, I think that's what Kenny was talking about. You know, they got a lot of young kids on their team as well, and then they dealt with some injuries and trying to get healthy back there. But now, so Raymond Bell, a guy that we see on the offensive side of the football, just kind of talk about what this year's has been like for you, and as you look down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season and looking ahead toward the playoffs.
It's been a great year. I love playing with my teammates, and we're just looking forward to success, and we're just working hard, and we've had a great week of practice.
You know, that's the attitude you hear a lot out of your kids, isn't
They know
it?
how to work hard. I mean, I'll give them credit for that. They're one of the hardest working teams we've had in my 10 years here. I'm very proud of how hard they've worked.
You know, one thing about Coach Mask, too, and point this out to the audience at home, is we get a chance and the privilege really to visit with coaches and teams and meet the young guys and everything like that. And all coaches have their own ways of squeezing a win out each week, because that's ultimately, you got to get the wins. But I really do appreciate so much the way you care for these kids way beyond the whistles and the hits and the penalties and the good and the bad, because I've witnessed that, and it's very genuine, and I think for the kids, it means something to them as well.
Well, thank you for saying that, Dan, and that means a lot to me personally. And the thing that I think that you measure a program by, in my limited brains, is will they come back after they graduate? And it does my heart a lot of good to see kids come in the field house or look up on Friday nights and they're standing on the sidelines and all that kind of thing. And that tells me that our school, our administration, academic, everybody have done the right things, so they want to come back. Today, you know, Alabama's on fall break, and we had 5 kids come by today. You know, hey, Coach, just want to see all that kind of thing. So thank you for saying those words, and it is heartfelt.
Oh, no doubt.
When we were talking about this Daphne defense, and you know, since that's really been a hallmark of the Daphne Trojans since Coach King has taken over that program over there. When you've been getting ready this week, seeing what they do, they've got some playmakers on there. What do you see with this Daphne team as you get ready to do battle with them?
Well, we're playing a great team. We understand that, and we've been working very hard this week in practice, and we plan to be successful and score. And just
last week had to feel really good. Got a lot of points offensively, got it going early in the game, and really had to be a fun game to be a part of on the offensive side of the ball last week.
Yes, sir. It felt really good to score 49 points, and we hope to do the same. And just keep it going.
Jay Green getting more healthy each week seems to be like that mobility back compared to when we saw him earlier in the year. That's helping the offense too, right?
Yes, sir. He's getting his mobility back. He's a hard-working player.
So you get to this point of the season, Coach, and you start to think, got the matchup here tonight against Daphne. We talked about having played them, and with going up to 6A, and we've talked about that a lot. Not teams that you've played a whole bunch, but you know, like we were talking about, like, when that guy's the head coach, like, they're probably going to be pretty good against that defensive line.
They're very good up front defensively, and the thing that they do, they come with a lot of pressure packages. You know, that's sort of their MO is to cover you up and bring pressure. I think that's Coach King's background, probably was at Alabama and the NFL, and you can see that influence there. And very talented, a lot of speed, and that's a big concern for us on both sides of the ball. So we expect to see some rock'em sock'em football.
We're going to be on a beautiful campus. Yep. We're going to be in a new press box overlooking one of the prettiest fields in South Alabama. I don't know how you'll...
Yeah,
let's give kudos to Brett Rutledge and his crew.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Brett he takes a lot of pride in our facilities, and especially the grass part of it. I think I told y'all prior before, a lot of people will call and say, when y'all put turf in? I tell them it's grass, they just shake their head. But we're very fortunate to have that type of a surface, and we take a lot of pride in being able to play on that surface.
It's going to be beautiful pictures on TV tonight.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that the greenskeeper from Augusta National would come down to St. Paul's to get tips as to how the grass should.
How do you do this, man?
Brett gets pretty bad at me, and I hit pitching wedges off of it.
Well, I've seen your pitching wedge. I can tell why. So,
there's a divot or two.
All right, we'll take our last time out. Coach King will be back with us. Raymond, great to meet you here tonight, and Coach King, Coach Mask, and Dan Brennan and I will be here. We'll wrap things up about 10 minutes from kickoff tonight at St. Paul's. It's the Saints taking on Daphne. 6A Region 1 matchup tonight here on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Steve Mask, Kenny King. And in the break, he just said the dumbest questions ever. Like, Coach, honestly, you weren't around for the pregame show 10 years ago when they were really dumb. Like, these are just, so you've evolved. Yeah, we've tried to.
Yeah, right. These are Ivy League.
Yeah, these are just not nearly as done. And I'm looking forward to playing. A new team. Like, is it kind of a fun thing to prepare against somebody? Kind of the chess match. You're not sure what you're up for yet.
Absolutely. Again, he does a great job on preparing this team, and they don't make any mistakes. That's the craziest thing. And you know, again, we need to work on that part. But disciplined team, man, and again, they have a great team, and we're excited to play.
I was gonna. Have you ever been to a game at St. Paul's on the campus?
I haven't. I mean,
you're gonna love.
Yes.
Win, lose or draw, you'll love the atmosphere. It's really a great,
it's beautiful.
It's a great place to come and enjoy a high school game. All right, so Bren in and Bren out as we get ready here. So
the game's named after me.
Yes. So
my point exactly.
Oh, thank you. All right, Variety.
That was a shot.
Variety magazine this week. Your subscription, I think, expired. Coach Mask, but came out with its list of 20 best horror films since Halloween's coming out.
Yeah.
Get Out was ranked #1 of all time. I'm not going to ask if you saw, but horror films. Brent in, Brent out.
Brent out.
Scary movies?
Brent out.
Brent out, but I did enjoy that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done on the Eastern Shore.
I'm out too, but I did not see that one. So Melissa Stark, who I love on NFL Network, got hit in the head with a football on Sunday in the pregame show. Like a pro, kept going right on through, didn't break stride. Being hit in the head with a football on the sidelines. Does it happen to you, Dan Brennan?
Brent out. Never happened.
I'm sure, yeah.
Brent out.
No, never got hit. I've never had.
Right, we've been close.
Yeah, we have been close. Those punts are dangerous as well. Let's see here. So, there was a goalkeeper over at a soccer game in Great Britain last week, and he was playing, and he noticed his car was getting towed, and he turned to the crowd and he said, "That's my car!" And the crowd started chanting, "Preston, move your car! Preston, move your car!" Ever had your car towed, Dan Brennan?
No, Brent out. Never.
Ever had your car towed?
No.
Mardi Gras. Hadn't lived in Mobile long. Had my car towed. New Pirates of the Caribbean coming out. Pirates of the Caribbean #6. Pirate movies, Dan Brennan.
Brent out.
Oh,
Out.
Out.
oh, love him.
Okay.
Johnny Depp. He's just playing Keith Richards. I love him. All right, high school football tonight here on UTV 44. St. Paul's playing host to the Daphne Trojans. It's 6A Region 1 matchup. We can't wait to get this one started. It's a big playoff implications on the line. Beautiful setting. Kickoff comes up in about 5 minutes.